Hello everybody, welcome to Swordsmith Farrier Services. Today I'm here with my husband Philip, and today we have a guest on our video. Hello, this is Brenda Harrison.
Hello.
She is our long-term coach and mentor to us for riding and horsemanship. Before we ever started doing any farrier work or getting into serious riding, she taught us all the basics to do with horses before we knew anything about horses. So.
That's right. She taught us both how to ride years ago, and today we will talk about her horse, Sapha, with her and share this story with you.
So, Brenda, tell us a bit about Sapha. How long have you owned him, and what have you done with him over the years?
All right, I've owned Sapha all of his life. When he was born, he was so small, he could sit on my lap. And if you've seen him right now, he's about 16 hands and is around 1,200 pounds of horse. So there's a big difference. So I've had him all his life. He was a 50-mile endurance racer for me, and a very good one. He also raced for Israel. He carried an Israeli rider for a while and was very successful there. At about 9 years of age, his journey was, and he was very good.
Wow, that's really wonderful. Quite a good horse then.
Yes, today in this age group, where he's around 18, 19 years old now, he works 5 days out of 7 for me, leading young horses across rivers and down trees and things they find frightening because it doesn't bother him, and he trots and canters just like any other horse.
So did he ever have any unsound issues, and if he did, when did they show up?
Sapha was never unsound all of his racing career. He was never pulled even for unsoundness, not even once. It wasn't until he was about 9 years old that something started to transpire that we'd never seen before.
All right, what did you notice when you say something started to transpire?
An odd movement. He's normally a long striding horse, very powerful and smooth, like the feet just sweep like there's nothing to it. But he started to jam his toes into the ground and started stumbling very badly.
That's very dangerous for you as the rider
Very much so. Very much so.
What was the diagnosis from your vet, and how did you respond when you started to notice this?
The first thing we did was we called the vet in right away. The lameness progressed to be excruciating. He's a food-oriented person.
Yes.
And it was quickly getting to the point where he did not want to walk to the feeder. He was reluctant, and he would stand with the toe on the ground, not touching the heel at all. And at first, the vet thought it was an abscess, and he checked for abscesses.
Yes.
You name it, he checked for it. Couldn't find anything. Then he says, all right, we're going to take radiographs because it's acting like navicular disease. So they took several radiographs of both front feet, and he got back to me and he said, we don't see any changes in the navicular bone to say it's navicular, but we're going to say that it is based on extreme pain in both front feet.
Yes.
And then as time went on, I noticed his frogs start to die on his front feet. And what we had was a couple of holes with the frog down inside, just literally just dying away. And there was no thrush or anything. It was just simply dying away.
What steps did you and Philip take to attempt to fix this issue?
Well, Philip was, he was more not afraid to do something for me, and he knew me on a personal level. And I told him after the vet said, the kindest thing you can do for him is to put him to sleep. So I was faced with euthanizing my horse 2 days from the day that I was going to speak to Philip. And Philip was standing in the hall, and he said, just bring him over here, bring him in so I can see him. And I did, and he was excruciatingly lame coming in. And Philip just stood and looked at him and walked around him and looked at him and looked at him. And he says, I think I know what to do. And he said, now it might work, but it might not. But are you willing to let me try? And I said, absolutely, because I was going to lose my boy. I was going to have to put him down.
Yeah. Philip, tell me what you saw and what made you think you could do something about it in that moment.
It was, first of all, fully unclear what the actual issue was. I mean, the vet already has said, put him down. There was another farrier involved that already said, I don't know what to do with it. I had just some simple notes written down about him from the winter before when I was taking care of him. And I had him on a little bit more upright angle. So I had measured him beforehand, and the only difference after like checking him and I measured him, I did everything I could, the length and everything, and the only thing I could say is he was a little more upright in the winter and he was fine in the winter. You let me try that, and Brenda, you said basically you can take him as short if you want to. If he's lame from being too short in the toe, we'll put shoes on him, but we'll make him short in the toe and drop him forward and make him a little more upright. I think it was 54 degrees.
Yeah,
sure, very upright.
52 or 53, you brought him right. And it was shocking because my former farriers, they all believed in long toe. And Philip told me, he said, "This is going to be a little bit shocking." I said, "It doesn't matter. You have to understand, I've got to put him down. He's in so much pain." So he took that toe back. It was shocking because I was not even used to it myself.
And so Brenda basically gave me the free reign of do what you need to do. There's no other options. The vet doesn't know. The farrier doesn't know.
That's
you are the only one, the only farrier that could potentially do something. So do it. I don't care what it takes. The only alternative is euthanization, and therefore go for it. And so I felt free to do what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And that was very important because I was aggressive in the treatment, and I put him. I would say he was at about 50 degrees, and I brought him up to 54. Like quite, I wanted to make a significant change so that that we could see results. If this is it, that there would be a result. And well, what was the result?
Well, when he walked into the barn, he was already very, very lame. The one thing I noticed when he walked out of the barn, he was half as lame as he was when he walked in.
Wow.
So over the next days and about in 3 weeks, by 3 weeks of walking, he was sound for the first time in a couple of years. Wow. It had been fooling around. And the other thing was the stumbling stopped. He stopped jamming the toe into the ground. And then further along, I noticed the frogs starting to grow in the holes. They started to fill up. Now he's got big fat frogs, which you'll see in they're going to show you. And he didn't have any frog to even mention.
Wow.
Like everything was just falling apart at the heel, and his pain was so great.
Wow.
How long has it been?
It has been 7 or 8 years, perfectly sound. But the one key thing is I don't go past his due date for the farrier to check those feet every 3 weeks. Whatever that date is, I don't go past it. If I do, I feel that strange movement start, and it's a matter of time before he's lame. He'll go right back to whatever it is.
Yeah.
But as long as I am right on time to keep that toe from shooting forward, he's as sound. He trots, he canters, he works for me, as I said, 5 out of 7 days a week. He's
he is the greatest babysitter for all the
young
boys to learn all the strange things. And
yes, he is.
He's the best training horse out here.
He's an amazing partner of mine, and I am just so blessed to have him. And I was blessed to have Philip say, "Will you let me try this?" I was blessed because I seen it immediately. Yeah. That terrible pain started to lift off of him. And I hope that anyone who's listening to this or watching, if you have that same kind of scenario going on with your horse, maybe, just maybe, this can be changed. It doesn't mean the end of the world. You just have to keep walking forward and try. Yeah. Because not even the vets understood what was wrong. Farriers didn't know what was wrong, not till I spoke to Philip. And he says, "I see that something is not right here."
Yeah.
And so that was it.
It really helps that Philip knew the horse and knew his past.
He knew.
And he takes great care in checking all their angles. And it proves the fact of, like, people ask us why we check angles and we check like their medial lateral balance. All of that is very important because you get a horse like Sapha, and it really, really matters in the long run.
Well, it saved his life, and I can ride him without him tripping. I mean, when I say trip, I mean he'd go right down on his knees because trying to keep weight off his heel, he'd jam the toe in, and down he would go.
Yes, Sapha is one of those cases that over the years I had to learn to think outside the box, and he definitely had the need of that, and had to ignore some of my training. I had to go beyond what I was taught,
and simply go with what I could see here in this specific case. And over the years, I've ran across a lot of cases like this, where you, with experience, but also with an open mind, have to approach a problem, and often you can find a solution somewhere else, and outside the training book, outside the things that you were taught. But still, there are those exceptions, and Sapha is one of them, because I had to lengthen the heel, I had to put it more upright, and that was not something that either the vet nor the other farrier even thought of. And I could name a few cases just off the top of my head now where I had to do exactly that. I had to do something contrary to traditional belief, or contrary to training that I had received, to save a horse's life. Hey, if you guys liked this video today, please feel free to subscribe. We always love to see your support here on our channel. If you have any comments or any questions, please leave them below. And we will leave here our contact information here at the end for you. Please feel free to reach out to us via Facebook or YouTube, or call us. We would love to hear from you. Have a wonderful day.